Hello all and welcome to Tuesday Q&A. I am your host, Roland. Sitting here to the left or right, depending on perspective, is Ursi. Ursi, how are you? How are you? How are you?
I'm good. I've been busy all weekend. Had a nice, busy Easter weekend. Now a busy Monday.
What are you good at? Do you mean you're well?
What? No, I mean I'm good. Like I've done good.
Oh, you've done good? Okay. I was just wondering what you're good at because, yeah, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But awesome. Great to have you here. Looks like we both rated each other's wardrobe today, but picked different ties. One day we are going to be dressed the exact same. Are you prepared for that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it'll be fun. I feel like we may have done that before, where we both wore white shirt, black tie, and I think that's where the Mormon
it's Jehovah's Witness.
The Jehovah's Witness.
Jehovah's Witness, yeah.
So it'll happen again.
I'll be honest, I'm not super nice to the Jehovah's Witnesses when they come to the house. Okay, I'll tell the story.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. They tried to hand me their pamphlet, and I said, the garbage is right there.
God.
That was really mean. I know. But that's the thing. That's after like 4 times of them coming over. I was like, the garbage is just right there if you'd rather put it there than in my hands. Because that's where it's going to inevitably wind up.
Roland, it's almost like you aspire to be more like my dad every day you continue into fatherhood. It is...
I've been like this my entire life. I don't know.
I know, but like... Ever since you became a father, you tell so many stories that are so eerily reminiscent of things I cringe that my dad does. Like, so the other night we ordered takeout, and I was thinking about how like a normal person is very expedient when you order takeout. You say, "I want X, Y, and Z."
Egg rolls. I'm a little slow too. I'm like, so what's in the number 7?
Yeah, and
I'm worried about cashews. I want to make sure there's more cashews in the number 7. Because if I'm going to get the number 7, I need cashews.
I literally have to leave the room and go to a different floor of the house to avoid it when my dad orders food. Or I just order it myself because he'll be like, oh, well, my son will have blank. My daughter will have blank. I'm really had a hankering for the meatball wedge. I'm like, shut up. Like, order food. Jesus Christ. And it just overcomplicates everything. And that's something that he did this weekend. And unfortunately, I could not dodge. And I was like, this is exactly what Roland does. I'm 1,000% sure.
Imagine my dad. He embarrasses me. So we're at a restaurant one time, okay, and there are 8 of us, and there are 7 waters. And with every second that ticks by, it grows bigger and bigger in his mind that there is not an 8th water at this table, that there are only 7 waters. And he gets up and walks back into the kitchen. And I mean, he's not mean. He's just like obnoxious, I'm sure. And I'm just like, oh God, we don't just have my water. I don't even want water. I was going to order a Red Bull anyway. Like, yeah, no, he is 10 times me.
Oh my God.
Being at Home Depot too, because he's like a man's man. He's like I can build anything. Oh, we can do that.
Fences. I remember the podcast.
Well, we dug a trench this week and brought out 8-2 to the shed and buried 2 Ethernet cables. And did a bunch of shit. Anyway,
that's impressive.
Going to rent
fatherhood with Q&A.
Yeah. Sorry, we're only gonna talk for a second. And yeah, there was a guy, and I was like, "Hey, we need 180 feet of Cat 5. Is this durable to be buried?" And he's like, "Absolutely not. Do not bury this without corrugation, which is just piping." And my dad's like, "Excuse me. I've been doing this for years." And I was like, oh, and I was like, thank you, sir. It's fine. This is good. We know. It's embarrassing. Anyway, I'd love to meet your dad. Sounds like we get along. Does he like scotch? And does he hold his scotch glass like this?
He doesn't drink. All right, he drinks a little. Like
he's like
recently.
Why doesn't he drink? Like, is there a reason, or is it like he can't fish as well if he drinks, or your grandma won't sing him to bed if he drinks or something like that?
Stories that you have created about my
I have a whole thing about Ursi's house in my head. The singing grandma. That's one thing that, like, we should set like a $50,000 Patreon goal where I get to meet your singing grandma and she gets to sing to me while I play the piano. I play the piano and she sings, and we look at each other, adoring one another.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
I do have a piano in my house.
Really?
Not a good one.
Yeah, you can't get the green screen up, but you have a whole piano in there, huh?
Oh my god, I was so excited to get the green screen up this weekend. It's not in my freaking room, dude. My piano's downstairs.
Wow. You can fit a piano, but we can't put a cloth that's green.
It's a big cloth, and it needs stand and lighting.
Just staple it into the walls, into the ceiling, and into the sides, and make sure it's stretched tight.
My dad literally wanted to roll it and mount it to my ceiling so that it could be pulled down.
Because he's inventive and smart. That's why your dad wanted to do that
in our household. So when
do you
we
see
sell
that?
It later, they're gonna be like, "Hey, why is there bolts in the ceiling of this small room?" And we'd be like, "Oh, well, actually,
that's
we
a wall.
To put a green screen."
That's a green wall. Hello, wall. Look at that. I did that. That was fun.
Next week.
Yeah. Anyway, so Tuesday Q&A. Hello and welcome. Ursi's the expert. I'm the guy who talks too much and says things that offend people and then later apologize like 85 times for it and have realized my wrongs.
Okay,
I apologize.
Let's move on from this already. Please, for the love of God.
I apologize. I really do. I see the error in my ways.
Please stop apologizing.
I do, though. Okay, so what are we looking at, Denny? What do you got for me here? Okay. Oh, good or garbage. Let's start with our good or garbage. All right. So our good or garbage comes from the only person to have ever stepped foot in the studio other than me, Denny, Wazoo, and Easy Marchese. This and person, Andrew, that was Wazoo. Yeah. He lives within 15 miles of me, maybe less. Just happened to come upon the podcast. Lives in a neighboring city. Super cool guy. MMR 1985. I don't know what that matters because he's gonna give us our good or garbage. Lord Day. Hello, sir.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you for the grand introduction.
What was it fun coming over to the studio that crazy streaming night? Was it not fun?
That was cool. You guys are pretty chill. So
remember when I was giving you all those weird directions and you're like, I'm on 12th Street, and I'm like, you need to go 12 more. And
I need to tell this story, okay? So when you told me that I had to go, I can't remember the number. You're like, go 7 or something like that. And I went what I thought it was like 7 turns or something like that. And then I go and you're like, oh, you went 6. You need to go 8. And then so I get back on that road and I see right on that road is mile marker 6.
Oh, wow.
And I thought you meant the mile marker.
No.
So I went up to mile marker 8 and I'm like, how does he know where the mile markers are? Who knows that? So that's why I went to a weird place.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a blast that night. I will say that was a really fun stream. Okay. So, do I need to enforce the good or garbage rules here, or do you have this one, Lord Day?
I will not break them, I promise.
Okay.
Lord Day can enforce them if need be, though.
Okay, we'll let Lord Day enforce them.
Scout's honor.
You go ahead and you give that good or garbage. You let the people know what is good and what is garbage.
All right. Well, I guess my first one is topical then. Ursi, the rules for good and garbage and Roland's enforcement of them.
Good.
All right. Monkey King existing.
Good.
Adding new heroes to Dota 2.
Good.
Roland spamming Meepo.
Good.
Many goods. The international ticket prices going up.
I mean, good.
Doesn't matter for you.
Well, I want to.
Good.
I hate these rules.
Very good for Ursi.
Okay.
Very good for Ursi. It doesn't matter at all for Ursi.
I'm trying to tonally imply things using my different tones of good, but I just don't have the range.
No,
Okay, I accept your tonal reply. High ground defense being buffed.
Garbage.
Okay. Ice frog maiming Juggernaut's legs.
Good. Good garbage.
He lost 5 movement speed.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Come on, man.
Good. Oh, okay. All right. Roland Medusa cosplay.
Garbage.
Why?
You look great with snakes on your head. I don't know.
Oh, you could get me a mermaid costume yet again. I need somebody to push me though. I need to be on a cart, and I would totally Medusa. I'd do it. It just requires a certain amount of money, but I do it.
Resounding garbage.
Okay. Cyphus Space Cow cosplay.
Garbage.
Proud Queen of Plank cosplay.
Garbage.
What?
Garbage. Good.
That would be good.
Thank you.
I'm just trying to like veto all these cosplay things so we can move on to a different meme.
Oh, yours is next. Ursi adult.
Garbage.
Cosplay.
No, you have
adult, to. Do you say adult cosplay?
Whoa.
Yes.
Nice.
Good.
Like get him in some lingerie? Is that what you mean?
No, what?
No,
God,
I mean
Roland, you.
Oh, like like
hair.
as an adult. I got you. So he doesn't look like a little kid.
That's clever.
Okay.
That's clever. That's the only.
I thought
cosplay
you
you'll
meant
ever
like
take good
sexier,
to.
see? And I'm like,
No,
I don't know.
That's just a regular day.
I don't
my
know. That
friend.
could work too.
I'd look at anything once. I mean,
You buy enough crushed berry bomber
Maybe.
jackets. That's when you cosplay sexy or see every day.
It's crushed berry mingering. All right, Lord Day.
Okay.
Oh, you still got
All right.
more?
Yeah, 2 more.
Okay.
Roland having no soul.
Garbage.
I have a soul.
I know.
That's
poor
what I'm saying.
No souls.
Okay, it's not true. That's good.
Yeah, no, look in my
And-
eyes. That's how you can tell. There's a soul behind these eyes, whether it's good or bad. I won't reveal.
Okay, Roland soul then.
Good.
Good. And that's it. That's all I got.
Well,
All right.
so it's my job to rate the good or garbage.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and say that you had some repeating themes, Lord Day. Usually in our good or garbages, we like to have a spread, an array of topics. It felt like you really focused on cosplays a little too much. You talked about me being Medusa cosplay, so that is a one up on there. You talked about Ursi adult cosplay, so that is definitely a plus as well. But the overarching theme of your good or garbage was mostly cosplay, so I've got to give you probably a garbage on that good or garbage for the first time, even though there were some aspects of it that were just hilarious. Overall, I'm sorry, sir, but you got a garbage on your good or garbage.
Roland, you didn't follow the rules as people are pointing out.
I didn't follow the
You have
rules.
to say good or garbage about the good or garbage. You don't get to equivocate.
Good or garbage about the good or garbage.
All right, cool.
Sorry,
You
Lord
tried.
Day.
He's a hard man to please.
Sorry,
That's,
Lord Day.
You know, with that soul and all.
It's okay. Yeah.
It's
I'm
just
sorry. I didn't realize.
we look for diversity. We look for a bunch of things in our good or garbages. So, Anyway, thanks for calling in. Yeah, I'll see you soon, probably.
Thank you guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Excuse me. So what would you have given that good or garbage?
It's a mixed bag. Some were very clever. The Ursi adult cosplay is a very funny one, but I'm trying to really quash this whole like haha XD memes. Let's make all the show host cosplay things because it's very disingenuous and
Why is it disingenuous?
Well, because we're not doing it like cosplay is like.
No, I was going to hire like the best of the best. Like I was not going to demean it. Like I wasn't going to like wrap you in some red cloth I bought. Like I was going to hire somebody to make you the best goddamn Lena ever.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just saying. I'm not.
It's not. It wouldn't be disingenuous. It would be very ingenuous. Okay.
Ingenuous.
Yes.
But yeah. No, other than that, I think. I mean, it's just me trying to kill memes, honestly. Because I mean, death to all memes, right? That's our motto here.
I agree. I'm just too old for memes. I'm a little too old for it.
That's for sure. You have one too many children to have memes.
Yeah.
That's a lie, actually, dude. There are plenty of memers that have kids. You're just not good at it. Like, you're not.
Is there a skill to it, or is it just like?
There is, dude. It's a scary skill that
so
I'm very glad.
My sister's in high school. Okay.
Little
sister, much littler sister. Very much so littler sister.
Mine is also very much so littler.
11 years littler.
Mine's 8.5.
Okay,
So
so
it's close.
similar. She uses wrecked. She uses savage. She
Yeah.
uses you're not wrong.
Yeah, is that her
And
favorite one?
no, none of them are her
Oh,
favorite ones
disappointing.
because I've since taken her captive and waterboarded her every time she's used the meme. Okay. Don't-
Okay,
yeah.
seems excessive. I
It,
mean,
it is it's a little excessive, but I'm not okay with it. Like our upcoming generations, just like we don't need words, wreck.
God,
We
we
don't
get
need
back to old
we don't
man
need
Roland.
language, savage. We don't
Ugh.
we don't need proper enunciation. Blooga 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 blooga.
Oh my,
Like
Roland, you're such an old person now. We need to move on before you make yourself seem even more detached from the zeitgeist.
I'm super zeitgeist.
Yeah.
That's something that will trip you out. And I tell you what, zeitgeist. If anybody who hasn't watched it, it is some real shit. Okay, there's this world order. There's all sorts of things going on. And if you don't believe it, it's on YouTube, so it's obviously believable. I can't believe you would talk crap on zeitgeist. They're just uncovering the secrets of the world.
I don't even know what zeitgeist is. I just was using the word because it's a word.
Oh no, zeitgeist is just like it's basically like as fake gets on conspiracy theories.
Oh, sick! I should watch that. I've been watching conspiracy theory shows a lot
No,
recently.
but they're like legit. Like they're like legit as in like there's like a following for it that people buy into it hardcore and like they think that like
black helicopters, the New World Order,
New World Order, black helicopters, 9/11, moon landing.
Sick.
I'm sure there's a bunch of new ones now that Trump's president.
I'm mostly just into the flat Earth stuff. I fiend that.
Yeah.
Not as much recently, but boy, yeah, it's a wild ride. Anyway, let's go to a question, shall we? Next person.
I don't watch Zeitgeist, but I did once upon a time because a friend was way into it, and I even remember back then being like 16 and being like, nah. Like that's just how I felt about it. Was like, maybe that's true, but nah. All right, so we got Kofi. He doesn't need an MMR, damn it, because he's so good. And he has a question about an item. Kofi, what is your question?
Does the old man Roland yell at little kids like that walk across his lawn?
I do. Yes.
I hope so. It would fit his character at this point.
I mowed that damn lawn, okay? I made it look the way I wanted it to, and then they're getting their little shoe prints, basically little knives because their feet are so small, poking it into my lawn. Yes, I do. And we don't have a sidewalk. They use the road. What's your question, Kopi?
Hey, it wasn't so much about an item, but I know this is like started as a new player Dota 2 podcast, and I just wanted to ask about last hitting creeps. Like, what's the down and dirty? What do you look at more, like a mathematical approach and then practicing that, or do you recommend just getting a feel for the specific hero?
I mean, I would say if you get a feel for a specific hero and you know what their damage is, ballpark, then you can start to estimate other heroes based on that. So if you're last hitting with, let's say, an easy hero, like let's say a Juggernaut with a Quelling Blade and a Poor Man's Shield, he's gonna have like 75 damage or something effectively. And then okay, when the creep gets down to this low little margin, that's when I can get the last hit. And then you can apply that to a different hero where you say, okay, well, I now, you look into the corner screen and say, okay, I'm playing Invoker. I have 52 damage. And that means I'm going to need to go a little past the Juggernaut. And that's kind of how I best learned to estimate. And yeah, I mean, that's how I best learned to estimate CSing.
A really fun thing to do that I did once upon a time, I think I saw it in a Purge video, is pick Treant and last hit under tower, and pick Shadow Fiend and last hit under tower. And figure out the difference on how like the tower can hit the melee creep 5 times and Treant can punch it once, even at level 1, and it'll die. Whereas Shadow Fiend has to prime it, where you hit the creep once, let the tower hit it 5 times, hit it a second time. And this just gives you an idea of what like 90 damage is in comparison to 45 damage. And don't buy Quell, don't buy anything, just go like naked on the hero basically. And then you can get a good idea of it. Especially like Jug, I also think is a great example, RC. Because like I get Quell, I know a lot of people don't, but like PMS, Quell, you're level 3, you probably want to prime it. There's a good chance you crit and you screw that last hit up, but you still probably want to prime it by hitting it once. And really good supports will hit it once for you when it's under tower. Like they'll hit the creep, and the tower will hit it 5 times, and then you'll hit it with Jug and you'll kill it. And then the ranged is 2 hits. You hit it once, tower hits it, you hit it, and then you let the tower hit it twice, then you blasted it. It's kind of like the Shadow Fiend versus Treant argument is kind of just so you can know like the extremes of the spectrum, and then you can start to fill everything else in after doing so. But yeah, on the notion of last hitting under tower, there's a really cool arcade game where you can customize everything and how many creeps are coming at you under a tier 1 tower. And you can just sit there for like 45 minutes and practice last hitting under tower. And you'll be surprised what 45 minutes will do.
Yeah.
Like just overall
really.
with any hero. Like you just start to see that sliver and you know that, okay, 1 tower last hit isn't going to kill that. Or, oh shit, 1 tower last hit is going to kill that. Where it gets hard is catapults. Because a tier 1 can hit a catapult 3 times and then you can kill the catapult. But sometimes, yeah. It depends. Like if you're Shadow Fiend, you can't. And priming a catapult is too much with Shadow Fiend, but it's like catapults can become impossible with some heroes, I've noticed. But some heroes, they are still possible. I've done extensive research. Like I just do this all the time in my off time. I fucking last it. I like it.
Yeah,
it's
the thing you do with some of those heroes with catapults is either if you have a nuking hero, even though your nukes deal barely any damage, you can use that as effectively a second hit. The other thing you can do is that if the entire creep wave comes in, you position yourself in the middle of the creep wave, then you can be hitting the catapult constantly, right? And then get it down to a point where 2 hits is enough, and then you just kill it.
Mm-hmm.
And while it's killing all the melee creeps, it's going to take 5 hits for. Then you can still get all the melees, but you're not wasting time by doing nothing. You're just positioned right in the center, and that way you can turn around quickly and last hit the melee creeps or the range creep, and then at the same time you're priming to an incredible extent. You're priming the catapult by making it much lower. But even that is kind of finicky if you're not like really sure of how much health is going to take off exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't agree more.
There's a lot of failing.
Catapults are the hardest. I feel like you can pretty much get perfect last hitting under tower with any hero if you've practiced enough. But when it comes to catapults, sometimes it's impossible. It's just literally impossible.
Yeah.
Does that help, Kofi?
Yeah, no, it's all good information. I just had a caveat off that I was watching a replay review that Ursi did, and he was doing for Mini Ninja's Juggernaut, and he talked about putting the Quelling Blade into the backpack to drop the damage to, I don't know, better last hit. I always figured the more damage, the better. I just wanted a little bit more elaboration on that.
Yeah, so that's actually like a really advanced thing that's pretty inapplicable, to be honest. But that is one of those things that you'll see somebody like really high level players do, where if they are right in that barrier. So heroes always have damage ranges, right? So I don't know what Jugs is specifically, but let's say Jug has a range of, let's see, he's level 1. I don't know his damage off the top of my head, but let's see, he'll have a damage range of like 6 points, right? So sometimes he'll hit and deal 52 damage, and other times he'll hit and do 58 damage. So the Quelling Blade will add that to that. That's 12 more damage. That'll bring it up to 70, right? And when you're in that, so with range creeps specifically, range creeps, generally the barrier is if you're dealing 80 damage, you'll be able to kill it after 2 hits from the tower. But if you're in a damage range area where with that Quelling Blade active, your Juggernaut's going to be doing potentially 80, but also potentially 75, and then missing the last hit, you can get yourself well below the barrier, take your Quelling Blade, put it in your backpack. It'll deactivate the plus 12 damage. You hit it once to prime it, then you get the 2 tower hits, and then you kill it finally. So
gotcha.
that's for those times where you really don't know. Like I hear like CK, Chaos Knight has an incredibly large damage range. It's like 10 points or something ridiculous like that. So he's a hero that can get really screwed sometimes because you overestimate or you assume you're going to hit higher middle tier in your damage range, but you hit too low. But yeah, that's
Gotcha.
like honestly, don't pay too much attention to that. Like, that's one of those things where I've missed last hits because I'm trying to do it, but it's something that you will see if you watch pro games and stuff every once in a while. Somebody's playing one of these heroes with a large damage range, or that's like close on that barrier, and they will pocket the Quelling Blade and then put it back in so that they can kill the creep. Exactly.
Or if anybody has seen Febby force staff a creep out of tower range so that he can last hit it. That was hilarious. I don't know if you saw that
You
video.
get
That was
there's lots of opportunities for style points.
Yeah.
When it comes to last hitting, or like
basically
And-
get
yeah.
60 by 10. Work your damnedest to get 60 by 10 if you're a safe lane carry. Like
it's a lot of just repetition, honestly, in
Mhm.
practice, and it's a lot of also learning heroes' animations. Some are worse than others, so there's an element, of course, to hero specifics. But
Mhm.
you're pretty. As long as you're learning damage ranges and like it's gonna take this many hits from the tower, you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's where like Juggernaut, Spectre, Sven. I love their last hit animations. They're just easy. Phantom Lancer. I wish he were a more applicable hero because
He's
goddamn
alright.
it, he just is like kick, poke, poke, poke.
He's alright.
And it's like it's just super easy to last hit with him. I don't know. I just like get it. Anyway, Kobe, thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks, guys.
And that's a good question. Just remember 5 and a prime, 2 and 2. Like that's how I remembered it. And when somebody told me that, I was like, oh my god, it all makes sense now. Anyway, thank you so much. All right, let's get to a voicemail. Let's go ahead and listen to Kuma's voicemail. Kuma, I think, is out of town, so he's not here to call in. So
He's in New York City.
He's in New York City. Man, I wonder if his phone. Okay, phone's working in that place, huh?
Occasionally, yeah.
Yeah, you get cell phone reception. That's good. All right, so we'll go ahead and listen to Kuma's voicemail here, guys.
Hey guys, it's Kuma. Over the past few days, I've been in New York, so I haven't been able to ask any Twitter garbage or ask a really good question so I can respond to you guys. But while I've been here, I've noticed a lot of ambulances going by. And I don't know if that's coincidence or what, but that got me thinking. Have either of you been in like have either of you had any significant injuries where you've had to be in an ambulance or just had any major injuries? Basic question. See you guys next week.
All right.
Okay. Go ahead.
Do you want to go first or should I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So this is probably going to be the only interesting part of my DotP one-on-one with Cyphus. As a spoiler, I suppose. But my only significant injury was I got hit by a car while I was walking across the street once, and I got like I had 3 skull fractures, and I had like some bleeding in my brain, in like my head, and like my skull.
When in the hell did this happen?
When I was 19, I was walking to work.
What?
I was jaywalking, but that's what you do in a place like this.
The fuck? You got hit by a car?
Yeah. I've definitely told you this story.
No, you have not told me this. Look at my reaction. Look at my reaction. Have I heard this story? No.
Probably.
You have never told me you got hit by. Are you okay?
Yeah, relatively. I mean, I'm sure like 20 years from now, they'll be like, oh, you got some back problems. But I had 3 skull fractures. I had like a major concussion. Although nowadays they don't scale concussions, but a few years ago, I guess they still did. And then I had like bleeding my brain, but that got worked out or whatever.
The bleeding, they just fucking cauterized it and it's all worked out. What? How did it stop?
I don't remember the specifics, but I was in the ICU for 3 days.
Intensive care unit?
You sound so sarcastic. I want to stop
I'm
telling
not.
the story.
Oh my god, I'm not being sarcastic. Okay, I swear. Like this, dude, you almost died. It sounds like. Did you almost die?
I did. I almost, yeah. And
I didn't know you when you were 19.
No, I mean that was 3 years ago now. It was November 3 years ago. So yeah, November was 19. Yeah, so a while. But yeah, and then like I couldn't sleep on my head for a while. I had to wear a neck brace for a bit. But I'm more or less fine now. It's one of those things where like I should have been much more injured than I was, but I was lucky. The lady was going fast too, and it just is what it is. I shattered her windshield with my skull, for context.
What?
But it was just an honest mistake. Like
By you or by the person that hit
Mostly by
you?
her for not watching the road. But I was jaywalking. But New York is like a no-fault state, I guess, and so that means that I just like insurance pays for everything, and then it's just like, oh, it was a mistake. Such is life.
Shit.
Yeah, I got rid of most of my scars. I had some really cool knuckle scars for a while from it, but then eventually I got rid of them over time because it's not good to have scars just in general, as cool as they may be. That's the only time I've been in an ambulance, though. Also, the fun part of that story is that my roommate. So I look like that's like a pretty cool injury story. I think like it's a pretty major injury.
It's not.
But the thing
that's
about
not
it,
that cool. I mean,
well, I mean, everybody's got to have like a near-death experience at some point. So
okay,
I got mine out of the way.
Well, let me get. I have like 4 questions for you now.
Okay.
First,
okay, I won't tell the fun part of my story yet.
How much do you remember?
I mean, I remember.
So you're walking. You're walking across the street.
Yeah, and then like my memory fades out, and then
you didn't see it coming.
No, I mean I was walking across the street.
So you're walking across the street, and all of a sudden,
yeah. And then I remember like getting put in an ambulance, and I remember like briefly being in like when they first take you in, and then I kind of just slept for like 7 days. Although you can't sleep for a while, and like I couldn't watch TV because there's certain rules when you have like serious head trauma regarding like what you can and can't do. Like you're not supposed to watch TV for a while because like the fine somebody that's a listener that's like medically smart is going to
flickering. The flickering.
Yeah, I think it's like you're not supposed to focus your eyes on like the small screen for an extended period of time. But yeah, and I was out for like 2 weeks of school, and then I came back to school because like I had to get good grades. You can't just like get off.
Only 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean I was in the hospital for a week, and then I took a week of like bed rest, and then I went back to school.
With like your head shaved? Did you get your head shaved? That was a follow-up question.
I didn't have like enough bleeding in my head for them to like do like the drill and then suction, but like I couldn't hear out of one of my ears for a while because like I think it was like outside of my skull, like it wasn't brain bleeding. It was like somehow on like the side of my skull, so it bleeds down, like it blocked my ear a little. But that stuff just like the body works it out, I guess. But anyway, the fun part of my story, unless you had more questions.
I do, but you can go ahead with the fun. The
fun part is that I had like I was like I was getting all like you're in the hospital, like you want people to feel bad for you and whatever. And my roommate, because when you're in ICU, I was alone, but then when I eventually had a roommate, and he had like all my injuries, or I shouldn't say that. Like I got hit by a car, right? Do you know what he got hit by?
A bus.
He got run over by a train.
Whoa!
And because he was a heroin addict because methadone and stuff like that, or not methadone. Methadone is like the good stuff they give you after to get you off of heroin. But that kind of stuff, opiates in general, is like a growing problem in the Northeast, but as it is pretty much everywhere. But he was a heroin addict in like one of these like rich people suburbs, and he fell asleep on train tracks after a bender, and he got his leg like run over at the knee. Sorry for anybody that's like really squeamish about this stuff, by the way. But he got run over like at the knee, so they had to amputate his leg. I forget if it was above the knee or below the knee. And
what does it matter? You don't need your knee anymore at that point.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure there's some medical reason why like it's more dangerous to amputate above or below the knee. Anyway, so yeah, he was my roommate, and he was a pretty nice guy. Like it was nice. I still don't remember his name.
Is that the funny? Is this the funny part?
I mean, it's like
this is not. None of this is funny.
But
okay.
I mean, I guess it's not funny. I'm
gonna continue on my questions. Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Third.
Okay. Sure.
Any residual effects? Anything still going on with you from this car accident that we should be aware of?
No, not that I know of. I mean, I couldn't sleep on certain parts of my head for a while because like skull fractures, I guess, take longer to heal or something.
Because I really don't want to have a liability around here. You know what I mean?
No.
Like you're not just gonna die suddenly.
Probably not. No, I'm all joking aside. I'm good now. Also, Manos.
4. Do you look back and laugh, or do you look back with fear?
I mean, I didn't cross like I was uncomfortable crossing streets for a little while because you have that kind of like trauma, but eventually I got over
Why
it
didn't you look both
because
ways? 5.
I mean I did, but she was going fast, and then like it's just the kind of thing that happens. Like
So you
both people are
seriously
not paying
didn't see
adequate
her.
attentions.
You didn't see her at all. Not for a
No.
split second. Your head didn't turn.
You
You're
can't.
you're just a guy walking across the street, and all of a sudden your head's in a windshield.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember most of it, but yeah. And yeah, that's the gist of it. And you know, you go to the hospital, they drug you up, they make sure you're not gonna die, and then you're good. I don't know. I mean, I'm not the type
what was
to,
your
like-
chance of dying?
No, I mean, prior to the impact, like I mean, it's one of those things where like people get hit by cars and die all the time, or like get paralyzed. But obviously, neither of those happened to me.
Like with your conditions,
I got
like
lucky.
could have died?
I
Like
mean,
during
y-
did you after this they did surgeries, right?
no.
Oh, you didn't have any surgeries?
No. I just like they put you in a neck brace. They like you're in the hospital for a while, and then they have to run all the brain tests and stuff to make sure that like because yeah, it can cuss, but you have to make sure that you don't have like serious bleeding, or
Bruising,
serious stuff.
probably.
Yeah, bruising. You know, you don't want to have stuff like that. So in that case, they would have had to do surgery, I guess. I don't know enough about brain surgery, but I mean, obviously, I ended up being fine. Yeah.
Holy
More or less.
shit, man.
I thought
Okay.
I was pretty sure I told the story on a podcast before.
Who
Like
was
my
the
only good story.
who was the most I don't listen to your podcast. Who was the
Oh, that's
most
true.
who was the most sympathetic of your family?
I guess my mom.
Your grandma
Maybe my
didn't like,
boss.
oh, Ursi, like
No,
come
she
in
didn't
there.
come.
She didn't come to the hospital?
No.
What, dude? You got hit by a car. That's
Yeah,
like
but, like-
extended family comes to the hospital.
No. So the only people that came to the hospital, my mom came a few times.
For
My
7 days,
sis-
your mom came a couple times.
well, a few times. You don't need to be there every day.
Oh
And
man, I
then
would
my
demand that somebody was there with me all day.
No,
dude.
it's embarrassing, dude. Like my face, like I was all cut up and like gross. It's not
That
like,
is like when it
I told my
not
friends not to
embarrassing.
come.
Really?
Yeah, and then my dad came once,
and he
and
was like,
then my
"Ah, good
sister
up,
came a
you're
couple
fine."
times.
Was he like something like that?
No, I mean, like, but me and him, my family we're weird, but we have a mutual understanding where it's like, yeah, you're gonna be fine, so don't worry about it. Like, I don't know.
That's actually
But
a
yeah.
pretty healthy way of dealing with it, I'd say.
I usually describe my household as less of like a stereotypical family and more like a bunch of roommates that don't have equal shares of finances.
Hmm.
But yeah,
I
so
have
that's
nothing.
my story. For
I
this.
literally have nothing.
Oh wow, okay.
Never been in
Wasn't
an
expecting
ambulance.
something interesting.
Never been in a car accident. Never had to. Okay, I had to call an ambulance once
Oh yeah, I mean
For-
I've called ambulances
for
plenty of
Audrey, but
times.
like that was it. Ended up being a no big deal thing. Yeah, I can't even hold an unlit candle to that. Wow.
Yeah,
Thank
well,
thank
you know.
God you lived. I'll say that
Yeah.
much. I would have never met Ursi Senpai.
I'm definitely of the opinion that it was a character building experience, and it helped me pay for college a little. And I'm you know everybody has near death experiences, right? So like I
Was
got
it-
mine out of the way early.
Did you see God?
No, I mean I don't even remember the thing.
You know,
So
you
I'm
could
gonna
just
say
write
no.
you could write a book. I mean,
Not really.
yeah, you
This is like not good enough of a story to write a book. If
If
to write a
you-
book, I'd have to be like paralyzed.
if you saw something, you could write.
No interesting sights from
Wow.
above. Nothing. Just like a bunch of
Wow.
nurses, or
That's-
not nurses, a bunch of ambulance people telling me to like sit down because I was trying to get up and be like, oh, I'm fine. Because that's what you do, like when you're in a stupor after like serious head injury and stuff. You like try to do stupid things, and they have to keep you awake. It's a whole thing. But yeah, it was a good. It was like a good character building experience. It gives me like my one interesting story about my life to tell. Because other than that, I'm a pretty generic person.
Oh man. Okay.
So
I'm-
good job, Kuma.
None
I
of
apologize because I'm so
none
sure I
of
told that
that.
story on something.
You may have told that story, but I've never heard that story. Wow. I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you're okay. And yeah, I'm sorry for being so hard on you.
Oh my God!
I'll tell you
Roland.
that I would have been there every single day to visit you. I would
I
have.
hope not, dude.
I
That
would
would be
have.
mortifying.
I would have flown down to New York City.
I'm not in New York City.
Your
you
garbage
stupid.
trash town. Okay, I would have flown down there and spent every single day with you. I would have held the straw up to your mouth and everything because you're water, and I would have
Oh
done it.
my
I would have done
God.
it all.
This is
Anyway,
adding to the Roland Ursinity fan fiction, and like your
I would
weird
have. I would
notion
have.
of me and my household and everybody.
And your
everything's
grandma would
going
come
on.
in and I'd be like, "There's no more chairs, but my lap is just fine." Because
what
in a
oh my God,
non-sexual way, as in like
Yeah.
a me saving space, making sure your grandma's come. No, I'd get up and offer her the chair. Is what I'd do.
Good.
Yeah, I'd get up and offer her the chair.
Good.
Okay, our next caller is Chaos MMR 3402. Chaos, what is your question?
Hey everyone, this is Chaos presenting Ursinity and Roland with Tuesday Q&A, your favorite near-death experience podcast. Today we'll be spoiling 50% of the content of our upcoming one-on-one interview with Ursi.
Yeah,
Perfect.
we kind of did that. But I mean,
Well,
you have other
got other
interesting
stuff to talk
things.
about.
You should talk about your
Especially-
school a lot because who knows what you're doing
Yeah.
there. And did you?
Well, yeah.
Have you? Okay, sorry, Chaos. Have you seen the most recent Netflix Louis
No.
C.K. Louis C.K. his stand-up?
No.
Okay, you should watch it because there's a
Okay.
segment in there that made me think of. He lives in New York City, and he specifically in one segment talks about New York City public school teachers.
Okay, I do not live in the city. I hate the city.
You'll
I
get
also-
a job in New York. Okay.
I could. I do not want to.
Anyway, you need to watch
God.
it. Okay, will you watch it for me?
Okay, at some point I will watch.
It's hilarious.
Louis CK's
It's hilarious.
special.
He has a lot of good things to say.
Uh-huh.
He does.
I believe you. I believe you.
Okay.
I
All right.
trust you, Roland.
All right, Chaos 3402 MMR, great guy. Lives in the
All right.
Yukon. What's up?
Well, all right, so my question for this week, one for each of you, but I mean, it's the same question for both of you, but I want to hear both of your answers to it. So you've got the opportunity to design a brand new Dota hero. What is she or he like, and what are their abilities?
Okay.
Can I go first?
Ask
Can
a
I go
cat?
first?
Can I ask? Oh yeah, I just want to ask a.
I've been ready for this. Okay,
No, I know. I just
go
want to
ahead.
ask a question to Chaos first to
Sure.
be more specific. Does it have to be entirely original, or can it adapt things or take things from other games?
It can adapt things, like Lena's adapted from other things, but she's turned into a Dota hero, so sure.
Okay. Mine, I don't believe is perfectly what you would say original. But I've always loved the idea that Techies. So Techies is his own type of hero, right? He's a defender, if you will. He's kind of a
Nuisance.
he is though his own category of hero. He's a static defender, if you think about it. Dota only has one, I guess, Spark Rays from Arc Warden, but for the most part, one thing that can add permanent things to the map, right? Can you think of permanent? So
Earthshaker temporary, but yeah.
temporary, Nature's Prophet temporary. There's a bunch of temporaries, but permanency in Dota 2, permanently changing the map in a way. So my idea for a hero would be like he's just a dude, all right? He's just a genderless, doesn't even matter. A rendered thing, the humanoid, okay? But he can augment towers, okay? And you'd call him Tower Guy or something like that. And
Tower guy.
So
My
he'd
favorite hero.
climb up into the tower and he would do things, and then he would infest the tower. Basically, he would infest certain things, and then he could make like permanent turret stations, kind of like Torbjorn in Overwatch, something like that. Like another defensive type hero would be really cool. I don't know how it'd work. Maybe like his Q would be like augment tower, and it makes it so the tower has 3 abilities. Like the tower can do like a catapult thing, and then the tower can do like a drop burning oil thing, and then like you know the catapult can like build a moat around it. You know what I mean? Like that type thing, or like add extra defense to the tower or something. I don't know. And then the other thing would be like building little turrets that give sight. I think that would be cool. They're really easy to kill. They do give gold, but you could. I guess you already have Venomancer Venom wards. That's like exactly a Venom ward.
Yeah.
Anyway, he'd have like defensive things, but they wouldn't just blow up. I don't know.
Yeah, and they would be banned. Like you could not be able to pick it if you already had Techies on your team. Otherwise, you would get team comps where it's like, all right, we picked Techies and Tower Guy and Sniper.
You're right.
And Arc Warden and Nature's Prophet. Yeah, and Tinker. And you have 6 heroes because why not?
You're right.
That's
right. But another defense, like another like defensive, like super like static defense, I guess is what I'm going for. Like a static defense hero. Anyway, that would be my idea.
So that's interesting. I mean, I think it would be either incredibly OP and annoying or absolutely garbage and people would just run away from it. Kind of like Monkey King ult.
That's kind of cool though. Think about it. Like I pop in mid tower and you're like, ah shit, tower guy's in mid tower. We got to go top now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's actually that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's a novel idea. So
thank you. I honestly thank you. I appreciate you saying so.
Cool. I'm
really sorry about the accident. Is all I'm not being sarcastic, dude.
Move on.
That is insane.
This is not a big deal.
Yes, it is. You almost died. Okay.
Yeah, well, we all gotta, right? Okay.
Later, please, for me. I don't want it to happen anytime soon. But okay.
All right. So my thing is not even an idea, honestly. It's just a straight rip. Everybody in Dota loves to hate on. I shouldn't say everybody, but most people in Dota love to hate on League of Legends. But League of Legends, honestly, the character champion Orianna is still the coolest. Arguably, I would say definitely in my top 3 for coolest conceptual characters in any MOBA or any like any strategy game, anything. And if you never played League, Orianna, for context, this is a hero that's so like cool conceptually that I've gone back to League just to play like a couple games of this hero, and then I realized that I don't know anything and the balance is terrible, yada yada yada. But Orianna, so what she does is she has a ball that's like on her side, and I may get one or two of these things wrong because I haven't played her in a while. But she has a ball that she manipulates, and that is like the locus of all of her spells. And all her spells change whether the ball is at her side, equipped to her, or thrown away, hundreds of units. And so she has things that like pull people towards the ball or shield or like give you plus shields for you and the ball, or there's like a damage spell that does damage based on the ball's radius, and like she gets plus attack damage if the ball is on her, and there's other kinds of like pros and cons, right? And she can heal if the ball is sent off like close to a teammate. It's just a really like cool thing to play around, kind of like a lone druid bear where he has so many spells that are predicated on the bear, right? Or they affect both heroes or whatever, or like a Meepo almost. But it is an inanimate, or not inanimate, but it is a unkillable, just a static object that she has to physically be throwing around and manipulating and all that. It's so cool. Like, I sincerely would pay good money if IceFrog would just rip that idea straight, just rebalance it for Dota, and I would main that character all day, every day. So that's
I'll be honest, I was a little confused in your explanation of the hero.
How?
But hey, that's a good idea. Hey, well, I didn't realize how low we're running on time, Chaos. You're awesome. You live in the Yukon. I can't wait to hang out with you for the 3rd year in a row at TI. It's going to be a great time. And yeah, I will talk to you very soon. Thanks for calling in with your unique questions.
Catch you later. All right,
later.
Bye.
All right, let's do Cambro's voicemail.
Okay.
Coming up.
What's going on, guys? Cambro here. I was just wondering about what abilities you can that can target the courier. And also, I had a non-Dota question. I was wondering your top 3 movies that you think deserve a pre-sequel or sequel. My top 3 are John Carter, Avatar, and I Am Legend. Thanks, guys, and keep up the good work.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so this came up semi-recently. Sunstrike pierces spell immunity, pure damage, because, well, that's redundant. Anything that's pure damage pierces spell immunity. Sunstrike does not work on courier. Dunk from Axe pierces spell immunity. Works on courier. Why? I don't know everything that works on the courier that kills the courier.
Yeah. Honestly,
Not
I
many
don't
things.
either.
So,
yeah, not like a lot of random things.
like there are weird interactions that work with the courier. Like I remember Techies bombs used to kill the courier. Techies red mines used to kill the courier. Now they do not because they're
Magical damage.
No, they're not magical damage. They're physical damage.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think they just are. Yeah, 100%. Because the green bombs are magical damage, which is why BKB blocks them. Green
Nope, damage type magical. They changed it recently.
Does it pierce spell immunity then?
Pierce's spell immunity, yes.
Oh, okay, that's why. All right. So it's basically pure damage, but not really at all. It pierces
spell immunity. That's an important distinction because you still get all your reductions and whatnot.
Okay.
Oracle's Fortune's End is one that, off the top of my head, comes that you can use on courier, but most spells I'd say you can't. It's like a really weird intersection.
You'd think Sunstrike. I would think that Sunstrike, except in the fountain, of course, except in the fountain.
Yeah,
but I guess couriers run really straight paths, and you just get really good invokers, and then you'd have to put a bunch of micro into courier. So it's just one of those things where it should work on courier because it is pure damage, and the courier is magic immune. I don't know what else.
Guess.
I honestly, I guess it's an ability for Troll Warlord to toggle to ranged, so that works on courier.
That's not.
I know that's hardly a thing. I'm just like racking my brain here.
It's one of those things where just assume nothing works on courier, and occasionally you'll be pleasantly surprised. Mm-hmm. Honestly, like almost so few things work on courier.
Can you Laguna Blade a courier?
I don't think so.
With Ags?
I haven't tested this. Like this is one where I need to go down and test it.
Yeah,
but the vast majority of things do. Like I honestly cannot think of anything other than Oracle's Fortune's End.
So okay. Well, let's just move on from the courier thing. Did he say prequel and sequel, or just sequel or prequel?
And or.
Oh, okay. Oh man.
I'll go first so that you can actually think.
I've got one already, but
okay.
You can go.
Okay,
you can go.
I don't watch movies. I'll be honest. I don't watch movies. So he said I Am Legend, and that would be really cool because I Am Legend, although the movie's very different than the book, it is actually a very fun series. I'm into it. The other thing I would say, it's not really a prequel or a sequel, but World War Z, the movie, is completely different than the book, and the book is phenomenal. Also, the audiobook version is amazing. It's by far the best audiobook I've ever listened to. Highly recommend. So if they did a World War Z adaptation of the actual book instead of just taking the title of the book and then making an entirely different film with it, that would be fun. But yeah, I'll be honest, I suck at movies. I'd like one for A Knight's Tale because I like that movie. That's really the only other movie I could think of off the top of my head.
Okay.
Cyphus is a movie guy. He'd have a good answer, but I don't.
I've got my 3. I would like a prequel to John Wick. Okay.
Isn't that what the new one is? Or no, is the new one a sequel?
It's a sequel. I'd like a prequel to John Wick. Okay.
I have my full answer. A prequel to a prequel and a sequel to The Professional.
Oh, okay.
I haven't
seen that. So I'd like a prequel to John Wick on how his wife died and everything. And how he became such a badass assassin guy. Okay, because I'd like the character building there. I would like I'd like a prequel to Pulp Fiction on what all of the various characters were doing in Pulp Fiction. That'd be really cool to see how everybody came together to be, because it there's, I don't know if you've seen Pulp Fiction or not, but it's just a conglomeration of characters that all wind up in one story together. It'd be cool to have a prequel where we just go over each and every character so we get to know them a little better. And I love that movie. And then I would like, very much so, a sequel to Shawshank Redemption. But I imagine a sequel to Shawshank Redemption would just be Morgan Freeman and his name's Tom something. Tom. Anyway, he's a great
From
actor.
MySpace.
Or IMDb would be the best way for Shawshank Redemption. Great actor. I love the guy. I can't believe his name is slipping my memory. Anyway, the sequel wouldn't be that interesting because they already broke out of prison and everything. But such a great movie. Every time I watch Shawshank Redemption, I'm just, please don't end. Don't end. It's just so good the whole time. It's my favorite movie, probably.
Yeah.
Shawshank
Okay.
Redemption.
So Commander Denny Cyphus actually sent me a list of things that affect couriers.
I just got it too.
I'm not going to list all of them, but some examples. Counter Helix from Axe Alt. AM can mana void it. A lot of these are very inconsequential. Apparently, Batrider can Flaming Lasso the courier. Bane can Fiend's Grip it. Beastmaster can Roar it. It's basically all the targeted abilities can target it. Yeah. Just skimming
Just try
it. Black Hole.
Wow. Just try your shit. Just try your stuff. If it doesn't work, then you know it doesn't work. Basically.
Yeah. Alina, actually, you were right. Lina with Aghanim Scepter can target courier. You can RP the courier if you're playing Magnus. Quap Sonic Wave kills courier. Yeah, I mean it's actually a surprising amount of things.
It looks like it's pure damage. Everything you're saying is pure pierces spell immunity.
Or physical damage.
Well,
it's just targeted abilities that pierce spell immunity.
Yeah, but Invoker got the shaft.
It's pure damage and abilities that can target spell immunity. If I had to just generalize based off these.
What is this emote? Tim Robbins, thank you. Okay, so we're going to go on to our next caller because we are running low on time. Our next caller is Jim Jimster. His MMR is 2000. Jim, what is your question?
Hey guys, so last week I had 4 games in a row where we completely got obliterated in the laning stage because someone just demanded to jungle, or someone picked a safe laner when we already had one and forced our safe laner to jungle. And so my question is, well, first off, is that just mostly a problem in my skill bracket, or is that kind of consistent everywhere? And then also, what are best solo supports or safe lane cores that don't get shafted by having, not having another support in lane?
So I mean, safe lane wise, you want a hero that's pretty self-sufficient. Sven, we talk about all the time on the show, and he's a rising hero in win rate and all that. So he's a good one. He's hard to kill, right? He has solid ability to lane. He does well against a lot of matchups. Another good example, I'd say, something like Razor or Ursa or Lifestealer, right? Basically, any of these tanky, or not even necessarily tanky, but any of these heroes that are not just going to get massacred by the offlaner and zoned out completely. Heroes that can do well under tower, again, that's what all these heroes fall under. Safe lane supports, that's kind of more broad. I would say any support that's not greedy. So you don't, for instance, I played a game and I had a jungle Dragon Knight the other day who was not great, it turns out. And I was playing CM that game. And that kind of went fine. I couldn't jungle my camps that I normally would because he was taking them. Although, fortunately, he was playing such a terrible jungler, he was not efficiently jungling my camp, so I did end up getting farm. But in general, you want to play these hard fives that can do a lot with a little and don't need items. So things like Witch Doctor or things like even CM kind of works for this. Rubik, again, I would always say if you want to pick a support, all that.
Would you say Disruptor fits into that as well?
Depending on what your roamer is. Disruptor is fine, but at the same time, Disruptor does not offer what... Disruptor usually pick with a 4 that has stuns, right? Because he does not have direct stuns. He just has his silence and his kinetic field, which is like a AoE control ability, which is not truly a stun. So if your jungler is something like a LC, then you can get away with it, especially if you're like picking it specifically to counterpick. But if your jungler is, something that doesn't have any stuns like a Bloodseeker, then no, that's a bad pick.
Okay, cool.
I'd also add Juggernaut. Once you hit level 6 TP and use your Omni Slash, he's not as hurt by a jungler. Although he does love the jungle, don't get me wrong. Hopefully the jungler's gone by the time you're hitting your level 6 and you're starting to move around to Omni Slash. Weaver is another hero. Phantom Assassin is another hero that I would say, especially new Phantom Assassin. She doesn't really worry too much about the jungle. She worries more about killing people opposed to killing jungle creeps. So just look what you disagree.
I mean that's not really the whole point is that you want to have a hero that can stay in lane and not get bullied by an offlaner, right?
Sure.
So a hero like PA, if you're playing against an offlaner, the offlaner is going to get a ton of farm and they're going to abuse the PA.
Well, right? I'm assuming we have like a 1-1-2 lane situation, right? So like I still have a support. I can still dagger. Weaver, I can still Shikuchi. Juggernaut, I can still spin.
Weaver and Jug are fine. I definitely agree with those. I just like PA, if it's like an offlane centaur, I mean, one support a lot of times is not going to be able to zone an offlaner adequately, right? Because they're going to have less tangos, they're going to have less regen, they're not naturally going to be balanced around the ability to solo zone an offlaner perfectly in many situations.
But don't you think PA's dagger has a lot to do with how, like, filling in as that third man in the safe lane?
It helps, yeah, but the thing is, the offlaner can step on you basically, depending on the matchup, of course. But in most matchups, the PA is going to get bullied at the very least. Yeah. And the daggers, now that you can't buy Blightstone at side shop, are a lot weaker in the very early laning stage, which means your offlaner is going to get at least a few levels before you can get your courier and get your Blightstone early. And then that's going to be the point where he can just be in lane, or she can just be in lane, regardless of your attempts to harass your paltry little dagger.
Yeah, indeed. Any that come to your mind, Jimsta?
In terms of just good heroes, I guess. Everyone that you listed makes sense. I think more than anything, just hearing you describe the answers and kind of like against an offlaner, like I get dual laned against all the time in the safe lane.
Yeah.
And so that is another issue, is just like, seems like every time my team has a jungler, the other team just happens to not have a jungler. And so we're just disadvantaged. So I think there's just some issues that you can't overcome. So,
I mean, just to answer that problem, in a very simple term, you want to pick heroes like the first few we listed that are more tanky, whereas like heroes like Sven or Razor, right? If Razor gets stepped on by some aggro duo, Razor doesn't care. Razor's gonna soak all his damage and murder them, right? Whereas if you're picking like an AM and you're getting aggro duo laned, you're gonna have a miserable time.
Or
because
Spectre. You're gonna have an even worse time. Exactly. Spectre, you can't. You got to get real. Like, they've got to have a jungler too if you're gonna play Spectre with a jungler.
Yeah.
Or else you're gonna have a miserable lane. For sure.
The other big thing that you have to factor in when you're picking heroes while you have a jungler is that you are gonna effectively have 4 cores eventually, right? If you can get the game into a mid to late game state. So you don't need to pick this super hard carry, because A, obviously you're not gonna have space to farm them adequately, like an AM, for instance. But B, you don't need to, right? Because you're gonna have 4 cores. The enemy team is presumably gonna have 3. Let's just say, for the sake of regular team comp game. And then you don't need to be playing a super hard carry. You could be playing a strong carry, like a Razor, let's say, who is a strong core, I should say, and that's gonna be very effective. And it would be terrible if you guys were playing like a 1-1-1 as far as cores go. But since you're now playing 4 full cores, you can get away with playing a carry that's a little more utility and a little more, havoc, wreaking havoc, rather than just this hard farming like AM or Juggernaut or Spectre.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's really helpful, actually. That makes sense, because it seems like the games that we end up just kind of holding out, those are the ones that we can kind of edge back in and win. So yeah, that makes sense, actually. Thanks.
Sure. Hey, Jim, thank you so much for calling.
Yeah, thank you guys. Have a good one.
Okay, so we are running super, super low on time.
We'll get quick.
We're going to go quick.
Two quick questions.
Okay, next question comes from someone who is 4150 MMR. His name is Kruger. What is your question?
Hey, what's up, guys? So I want to have a little conversation here about respawn time talents.
Okay.
I know, Ursi,
Let's
you
have
have like an opinion on this.
a short little
Uh,
conversation here, but yes,
short little
a short little
Yeah, yeah.
conversation.
So respawn time talents, they're good on supports in my opinion. Even though Dota Buff says they have like a lower win rate, people do that because or it has that low percentage because people pick it when they're losing. They should.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, you're definitely right that you have to take every percentage-based thing with a grain of salt, right? Because sometimes, I forget, I was streaming the other day and I picked a talent that had a 6% less win rate. And it's one of those things where objectively people would want to just say, okay, well, the other thing wins in thousands of games more often than the other thing, but situationally it can be fine. So you always have to kind of be a little worried about any talent that has objectively lower win rates because it's not truly objective, right? The way that the statistics are taken. So I would pick them in a decent amount of times. But the other thing you have to think about if you're a support is that proportional to the rest of the game or proportional to the rest of the people in the game, you are going to have a lower death timer already, right? If your team loses a team fight, your teammates are all dead for 50 seconds. You're a support, you're lower level. You're gonna be dead for 30 seconds. You're already gonna be up higher or up faster, right? So you don't need to make that difference any bigger because a lot of times you're gonna be able to do nothing, right? And it's just a waste of a talent.
Oftentimes, you're the only one that dies though in those team fights, especially if you're winning that fight. So you can be
Yeah.
dead for like 10 seconds instead of 30 seconds, as an example.
Yeah, I mean,
That's like
yeah,
not
no, I
being
mean
dead at
that's
all.
fair.
So
That's fair. I mean,
I would
yeah.
argue that it's very good in like team fight oriented compositions.
Yeah, it's definitely a play it by ear kind of thing. I'm definitely 100% in that camp, right? But there are a lot of times where having 45 seconds less death time on like a lion, it's like, okay, well now I'm solo defending as a lion, I'm just gonna die again, right? But if you are playing a hero that's gonna contribute to a push, then yeah, sure, get the talent. It definitely play it by ear. I would say don't take Dota buff or any statistics for that matter, or any advice that anybody gives you with 1,000% certainty. That's for certain.
All right.
I have
say
one nothing to add.
quick thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Can we abolish forever the term "do nothing hero"?
No.
You'll,
Fuck the proud.
You'll hear it again.
I have stopped. I've been not using it as much, but trust me, you want to argue with proud, not me, because I have had to argue about freaking nomenclature and
it can be explained. I mean, what do nothing means. I'll ask Proud to explain what he means by do nothing here because I understand.
I know exactly what he means.
He's explained it many times, and it is.
All right, let's get. Ursi, 1 second, please. Okay.
That's all.
Why do you hate it, Kruger?
Because every hero can do something. If your hero wasn't there at all, you would be shit out of luck and losing the game no matter what.
Okay.
The term "do nothing hero" doesn't exist because you're always a threat. You can always bait someone into dying or something.
But I really don't have this argument, but I will just say in very quick terms to sum up what proud specifically and what I mean. I use the term sometimes. I've been trying not to use it after people took issue with it, but in Dota you have very essential things to any strong team comp, right? You have stuns, you have counter initiation, you have heroes that do the basic fundamental strong things, right? You have hard carries, you have farmers, you have gankers. But there are heroes that just don't fit in anywhere, right? Because in that laning phase, in that foundational stage of the game, they do nothing effectively, right? They do not accomplish the necessary, they do not contribute to a team comp by providing those necessary elements. They provide extra elements. So yes, they do things, but they do not do the specific things that are required for a basic good team comp, right? So a hero like who's a good example? Undying kind of. Undying or Necrophos. Necrophos is always the best example. Necrophos is a do-nothing hero in the sense that he does a lot of things, right? But he does not do the basic necessary tools as a support to support, right? He does not do the necessary things to be an offlaner that offlaners do, right? He provides extra things that are great for a team, but in the foundational phase of the game, he does not provide the necessary tools to win, right? That's the basic idea of a do-nothing hero. And again, it is a demeaning term to those heroes, and I understand the
But about
opposition,
that
which is why I don't
specific
use it.
hero, like that
Kruger, go
hero
ahead.
provides great sustain in lane, and it provides your team with an ability to make a team fight 4 versus 5 almost immediately.
Yeah, those are things, but those are not like he does not react to a gank mid, for instance. He does not allow you to kill people in the safe lane because as a support, he just does nothing. Like he sucks at zoning. He can run at people and then use a few abilities that are not strong because they're low level because he
Play
needs to
off
get
lane.
XP and all that. Kill him off lane, you just get zoned and massacred because by any group of 2 supports because he has low armor, he has mediocre survivability at best. That's why you play him as a mid laner, if anything. It's just one of these things where he provides extra stuff, right? The very basic foundations of any good Dota team comp is stuns, saves, hard carry, gank, the ability to gank, ability to react, right?
Can I provide?
Kefros does not provide
Can I
anything.
provide an
Go ahead.
analogy? And because
I'm
we
scared.
love my analogies.
I hate this argument so much. I have had it so many times.
Okay. My
Okay.
I need
I've heard about
oxygen.
movies a lot, sorry.
I need oxygen to live. I need water to live. I need food to live. I love Red Bull. I don't need it to live.
At this point, you actually might need it to live. I'm fairly certain it's
Yeah.
part of your bloodstream.
I feel like that's kind of like the heart of the argument, Kruger. Is
Just
that
extra stuff.
it's not essential.
It's all right though. I understand the point. I just wanted to bring up that I still disagree.
Yeah, I mean, I understand your points, and it is a somewhat misleading term in that it does not mean objectively that a hero does nothing. It means that they are an extra hero.
Maybe not necessarily needed heroes is what they should
Yeah, I mean,
be.
I would just call them extra heroes, right? They just do extra things, right? Like Techies is
so
a do
much,
nothing
though.
hero because he does extra stuff. He does not do basic
Kruger's
things.
trying to get a word in
He-
edgewise. Sorry.
Techies changes the whole way your whole team plays because you're gonna have to play around the Techies. He is a do
Yeah.
everything hero.
God, all right. I need to bow out. I like if Proud is ever on the Tuesday Q&A again, I hope you come on and ask him this question because it is
I would
his
love
fault.
to,
that
I
had
would
talk
love
about
to
this.
have this duel where it's just you v Proud because honestly, like I get your point, Kruger, like that you're like
Oh, yeah,
yes,
they're good
everything
points.
does something. Proud is just basic, like to reiterate once again, Proud is just basically getting at like it is not necessary for victory to have a Techies. It is necessary for victory to have something that can kill a tower. It
But if
is.
you find yourself with a Techies, you have to like adapt to that situation, right? You have to play around the Techies. You have to do everything according to where the mines are.
Yeah, but that's just a different conversation entirely.
Yeah, that's just
Like-
kind of like like you just got off the freeway onto an exit, and now we're in Techies Town where we're talking about Techies. But the way to get to our destination is by getting back on the freeway and driving to our destination. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
Kruger, I don't disagree with you. You're not wrong. They're definitely not a zero amount of do nothing heroes, and as far as the nomenclature of do nothing, it's wrong. It is to its foundation wrong. They are do something heroes. They're just not necessary to win condition heroes.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway,
Yeah.
Kruger,
They're not necessary heroes.
not necessary to win. We'll just keep adding words until everybody like it'll
They're
be
just
like a
extra stuff.
39 hyphen altogether.
You guys do an awesome job. Keep it up. And
Kruger.
I'm a fan of Breaky, so that's awesome.
Oh, I'm
Awesome.
glad.
We're
Thank
we're
you.
a fan of Breaky. All right, thank you.
I listened to my first Breaky cast today, and it was delightful.
Oh man, I did extensive research on Breaky CPK. I still don't understand any of Han, but that game looked pretty cool. All right, I'll talk to you later, Kruger.
Later.
Bye bye.
All right. Nice
All right.
easy last question too.
Yeah. He's not wrong. And
He's
I'm
not
not
wrong.
being sarcastic when I say he
You
like
never know.
using the terminology. He's not wrong.
Yeah.
He's right that do nothing is like a very harsh way of saying doesn't help achieve.
Yeah. It's just a catchy term.
It's a
Like,
catchy
basically,
term. It's a
right?
catchy term for saying
It's
something
evocative.
Yeah. Yes. That. Wow. Yes. And
All right, let's get to our last question.
I feel like that word was once in my Rolodex, but got pushed out and now is back in. Oof.
Evocative?
Yeah, that was not
That's a
in
good
there.
word.
That's a great word. I'm going to use that. Okay, our next caller is TJ Sutton. His MMR is climbing. TJ07 Commander, how are you?
Yo, pretty good. How you guys doing?
Pretty good. You have a question for us, I presume?
I do. It's a lighter, non-Dota related question.
Okay.
Thank God.
So, or really, I guess it's more of a challenge. So I want you guys to come up with a cocktail for one another. So Ursi for Ursi for Roland, Roland for Ursi. Like what? You don't have to name the ingredients, but what would you call this cocktail?
Oh man, the ingredients was the part that I was gonna
Can I go?
at. I don't
Or
know.
if you
Can
want
I
to
go
terrible at
first?
naming things.
Okay,
Go ahead
I'm
and,
gonna
like,
do it
list
for.
ingredients.
I'm gonna do it for everybody. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I was gonna ask for so you guys do it for each other, and then you guys collaborate for
I've
one
already
for
go-
Cyphus
I've had
and
this
Proud
thought.
and Grouty.
I've had this fucking thought before.
Grouty. Okay,
I'm
I'm
Yeah.
glad.
I want to know
Okay.
Grouties.
So Ursi is probably a cosmopolitan, something with a lemon.
Ugh.
You know what I mean? Something that is way too sweet, but it'll still get you drunk. Is constantly in your face. You're not sure if you like it or not, but the more you get in, the easier they are to drink. Proud,
Boy.
I would say, is a lot like an Irish car bomb. At first, it's just ugh. But after your like third one, you're like, oh man, I'm digging these. They go down smooth. Denny would be like your I would say Denny would be like the milk and vodka.
Dude, that was gonna be one of mine,
what
except
is
the
that?
opposite.
What is that called again? Jesus.
White Russian?
White Russian, thank you. Because they're gross, not a lot of substance, and they're not that interesting. It's just vodka and milk.
Savage.
Let's see. Blackheart would definitely be like a shot of tequila.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's just pretty much bad the whole time until you're drunk and you're having a great time. But then you wake up the
yeah.
next day and say, "Oh God."
I was
Grouty.
gonna say, yeah.
Grouty
For
would.
Blackheart, yeah.
I want to go through all mine and then you can go through all
I'm
yours,
sorry.
please,
Forgot that I was going
please,
through all
please,
of them,
please. I would say Grouty's just like a Coors Light. You know what I mean? He's just kind of like he's a Coors Light. You know, it doesn't. It takes a lot of them.
It's like a Blue Moon, some kind of like nice beer, but still just a beer.
It's
Like a
just
Stella, maybe.
It's just a Coors Light. You know, you can get them at the gas station. There,
Oh my
a lot
gosh.
of people drink them. Yeah, that's mine. Okay, Ursi.
Poor Grady. Okay, so first of all, I think the most obvious one for sure for Roland has to be a Red Bull vodka. Right, that's just a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I honestly thought Roland was gonna say that I'm like a Long Island iced tea because I'm just a whole lot of alcohol, but then he went for the legitimate answer, so respect. I would say Proud is probably like a Moscow Mule or a Dark and Stormy or some kind of mule. I think that's pretty classy. Boy, mostly just because he got me into drinking them. Cyphus is there's no real name for it, but Dr. Pepper and Sailor Jerry's. That's what Cyphus would be because it's really tasty, and he got me into drinking them. Blackheart would be a Black Russian, which they're actually pretty tasty, but they're very overpowering. It's coffee liqueur, usually Kahlua, I think, and then with vodka. And who did I leave out?
Grouty.
Grouty. Oh boy, God, you just got it so well, Roland. With the Grouty's like some kind of like very basic beer. That's just like I would say. Let's see, what would Grouty be? Grouty would be like maybe like something crazy, like super out of character for Grouty. That I feel like Grouty has some dark past. Like maybe Grouty would be like. Oh boy, I was almost gonna curse. Okay,
Yeah. Whoa,
he was.
Whoa.
Grouty was gonna be Jungle Juice, which has a different name that I'm not gonna say on the show. Where it's just completely out of character, and that would be Grouty. Like when you get past all the layers of complication and like normal person, you're like, oh my god, he is a lunatic. And so yeah, I think that's fair.
Oh man.
I figured he would be like a green apple martini or something.
Oh, that would be good.
Okay. No,
'Cause
the
Like an
Ursi's
appletini?
Ursi's
Yeah,
an
an
apple
appletini.
teeny. Ursi's
Yeah.
Ursi's
Freaking
those.
appletini.
You
dude,
are
come
one of
on.
those sweet drinks, dude.
Can't I be
where
just
the
like a
first
gin and tonic?
No, the first one is just kind of gross, but as you get them going, they get better and better and better. You know what I mean? Like
I
you're
mean,
like basically I'm saying like you're really hard to adjust to.
and we don't know Breaky well enough to ascribe him a
Yeah, Breaky's
liquor.
moonshine at this point. Like I don't even fucking know. Like
Oh,
I'm not.
gosh,
I don't know if
apple
I'm
pie
drinking.
moonshine.
I don't know if I'm drinking
Yeah,
it or
like the
not.
moonshine
Like
cherries, maybe.
like yeah. Like
There's I don't have you guys ever went through and just looked at how many like moonshine flavors there are?
There's a
just
lot.
so many.
I honestly don't know how. I've had Everclear. I've never had moonshine, but I've had Everclear, which is really I forget it's like 180 proof or something. But yeah, I'm amazed that like they managed to flavor things that are just that much pure alcohol.
Or
Yeah.
I guess if you can get Growdy really going, he turns into absinthe.
oh
Yeah,
man, then you just
probably.
start tripping from the wormwood, and you're just like, whoa, man, I didn't know you're. Hello. Go ahead and ascribe us as cocktails.
Oh gosh.
TJ.
Oh man. I don't know I don't know enough cocktails to really ascribe any. Although I will say I was with Ursi in that before I even asked the question when I was thinking about this, I was like, Roland is definitely a Red Bull vodka.
Is that
Yeah.
because I'm like kind of like high energy and pretty cool and like
You're like too much.
oh
Like it's just the person that's drinking Red Bull vodkas is always the person that's like going a little too hard and you're a little worried about them.
Woo! Like
I'm
The
that.
one guy that's tripping
Yeah.
at the rave a little bit too hard.
Yeah, the one guy that like really has like had too many. Yeah, and they're always dumb expensive.
You know, I do
Um,
order Red Bull vodka.
Yeah.
I do. That is my drink. All right.
Someone's got to be an old fashioned too.
What about Ursi?
Like-
What's Ursi? Is Ursi like a fine wine? Maybe Ursi's like a fine
No.
wine. Maybe that's what you are, dude. Maybe you're
I
like
think-
a really like obnoxious expensive wine that like is gross, but everybody's like, it's really good. And you're like, no, this is shit. Sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead,
This year
TJ.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it was made in 1773.
no, that wouldn't be me. I don't even like wine. I mean, I drink white wine, and white wine is wine for people that don't like wines.
I like white wine. And
Exactly,
I
I don't
like
like wine.
I like all sorts.
Oh, really?
yeah.
I've always heard that.
I like Cabernets. I like
Is that the one that you know the word of? No, it's
Cabernet
how does that-
Sauvignon. I know stuff about wine, like Zinfandel. That's a word with wine. Peach, plum wine, all the wines. There's wine and stuff. Okay, TJ, sorry.
Nah, it's just, man.
I babble.
I feel like Cyphus would be. Well, maybe it's just because I don't know Cyphus very well. I feel like he'd be a good like beer, like maybe a stout or something.
Yeah, like an imperial stout, one of the ones that like most people don't drink, but he's like, but some people really like him.
Yeah. Well, it's like, and as you like,
That got
with a lot of
weirdly mean. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that.
But with a lot of stouts, like the more you drink them, and like the further you get into it, like the more of like the notes that you can
Yeah.
taste, like the chocolate and the coffee. So it's like with his one-on-one, like the deeper we got into his like history, like the more we got to know him.
Was it
and,
really that inspiring?
It was great, dude.
I
He
thought it was,
worked.
like, one of the
He
best.
worked jobs. Cool. He
Maybe,
had
like,
a mean grandpa. Cool.
I think
Like,
the
what
part
it-
of what it is Cyphus is just like he's just really laid back, and it's just a guy that you can have a conversation with, and like I feel like he can tell a good story and like explain the circumstances he was in and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Plus, like we enjoy getting to know you guys more. So I know I look forward to hearing each of the show host one-on-ones, even though Ursi says his is going to be boring. I'm sure it'll still be really cool.
It'll just be me and Cyphus talking about debate club. I mean, he was on a debate team. I was just in a club. I'm like an amateur.
I was in debate. Let's talk about it, man. What
I mean, but we're not on the one-on-one, are we?
no, you don't. You just. I know you don't like me, but that's okay. I wouldn't like.
I
me.
like you.
If I
Roland,
were
just
you, I wouldn't like me
doses.
either. If I'm being completely honest, but I do like you. I don't expect it in return. I'll say that. much.
That's healthy.
TJ, thank you for calling in. We got to end the show. We were supposed to 24 minutes ago.
It's all good. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Thank you.
You're a great addition to Defense of the Patient, sir. Thank you for
Oh.
joining.
Thank you.
All right, Denny's here. Do you want to say something, Denny?
Nope. just end the show so I can play Dota and give a gift card away.
God.
Do you want me? I'll roll the die.
Okay. No, we'll do that in a second. I got to do plugs. Make sure, first and foremost, to tune in to this Friday. We'll make this bigger. This is going to be a great show. If you didn't already know, you now know now. Breaky CPK is our new Friday show host. We discontinued Counterattack due to popular demand because Ursi and Proud ruined it.
I feel like we're getting a bad rap because of that. But
tune into that. That's going to be a great show. They're going to go over a bunch of cool stuff that I am now privy to, but wasn't not long ago. DefenseThePatients.com, new website dropping May 1st. We actually have a date. I've seen it. It could be dropped now, but we make it perfect. Don't rush things, that type of thing. At .p_show, at Ursinity. Every single day at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I stream. I've been spamming Meepo, twitch.tv/.ptv, YouTube.ptv1. We are very, very excited. I can't explain the excitement. We recently have a new addition to Defense of the Patients, B-Dub. She is handling basically everything. So that's awesome. We're very excited to have her.
She's great. I met her at the Boston Major.
Oh, wonderful.
Her brother is a really big fan of Proud,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm definitely not insulted by.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I heard that. Very big fan, and we've gone through this. We want B-Dub is just doing kind of contracted work, but basically anything that you see from here on out, graphics, including this graphic that is on the screen now, is B-Dub's awesome work. And it's great because we don't have to do any micromanaging because she's like smart and task oriented and like super nice and good to work with. So far, very good. Patreon, patreon.com/Defense of the Patients. Check us out. Donate $1 if you want to hear the Patreon exclusives. Donate $1 if you want to hear Ursi and Denny singing, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. So tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
I feel so bad for
that
everyone
episode
to
will
listen
only
to
be
that.
available for a very limited time.
So go ahead and get your $1 in so you can check
I didn't
the
even
episode
listen
out.
to it. That's how much I like.
I mixed it pretty well. I thought I
hope
mixed
so,
it
dude.
okay. Like from what Denny was giving me, it was not.
He had to be like 10 times better than I was.
I gave you everything.
You guys couldn't do
gave
it. Like
nothing.
neither of you could really do it. Like I'll tell you that
I
much.
physically cannot sing. Like
Yeah.
it is an incapability. It's like my one thing that I don't do. Like I'll do anything else. But boy, I'm so bad. I'm so self-aware of it. I used to be so good too, but alas.
Okay,
That's it.
you have questions, we have answers.